my camera's here, but it's
all good, man. All good.
what's going
So,
on? Today was busy.
hey, so we're live. Hi, everybody. So, Ali's our technology expert. She, as always, is sitting beside me here, walking us through. So, it's been a fun day. It's been a fun week so far. All of a sudden, everybody's like, "Hey, we better buy a house before our interest rates go up," right?
Yeah.
So it's been a little funky that way.
I didn't get off the phone yesterday until 7 p.m. Literally, 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. Just putting out fires all day.
Yeah, my final deal that I received last night was like 10:30. And I was like, man, I didn't have the rest of the day to do this.
Yeah, I feel you, man. That was the same thing. I think it was expected, but everyone was trying to fight to put out videos too, right? Like I was trying to get some TikToks put out and some Instagram stuff put out, but I mean, every realtor I think was trying to figure out the right caption to put. But yeah.
Awesome. I'm just going to do a quick intro. As always, I'm Amir, and we have today Dave with us. Dave is our expert condo extraordinaire from Toronto. And obviously, you guys know our neck of the woods. We deal with more country properties, more detached, stuff like that. How's it going over there for you guys, especially with condos?
Everything's, I'll start with so I swear to God, I sold a house in Peterborough, and it was an NHL player, and in the backyard they had all these it looked like a chicken coop, and we don't sell usually places with acres down here. That's unheard of.
You get a chicken coop somehow.
It was a pigeon coop, and they flew pigeons competitively. And I thought the listing agent was messing with me. Like I thought he was playing a joke on me. I'm like, I get it. I'm from Toronto. I know. And he's like, we're serious. Yeah. But it was crazy. Anyways, the condo market is okay. The condo market's kind of holding strong. Toronto's a weird, for statistics anyways, like we analyze these numbers like crazy. I know you do too. And Toronto itself is such a weird city for that, because it's like each pocket is so different, each building is different. So it's not only can you really measure it from like building to building or pocket to pocket, it's just certain builders are better than other builders, certain buildings have aged better than other builders, certain pockets, it's crazy. But on average, I'd say condo prices are pretty relatively safe. They're down about 6 to 7% depending on the area. I mostly work along King Street West, and it's kind of a place where a lot of young people want to be, especially finance people, tech industry people. They all want to be down here. It's a fun spot. There's lots of things to do down here. So we constantly have that people coming in. But
have you seen an uptick in how many people have started to buy? Because obviously when the pandemic started, we were all, everybody was moving out, and they're like, I'm stuck in a condo. I need to go and have a backyard so I can throw my kids out. I wanted to go take a walk. Yeah. And everybody sort of kind of got out and they flooded into our area. Have you seen sort of an uptick with people going back? And also the factor that this is sort of something that some economists have been kicking around, that if we're approaching some kind of recession, condo sales start to go up. Have you seen anything like that?
We haven't really. We've actually seen a few in the last week or 2 weeks. We've seen some places, if they're priced properly and the units are nice, they actually have multiple offers. We're still seeing a few bidding wars here and there between good condos.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see people that moved away during the pandemic that thought that, work from home was a forever thing. And then either they got promoted or moved companies and work from home was no longer accessible to them. So they have to come back to the city because the drive just, it wasn't making sense. But in terms of prices going up, I think they're going to slowly decline a little. The problem with condos in Toronto is a lot of them are very similar, especially Toronto's a very new city in general. So, a lot of these builders and the condos, they're very similar, very, very similar. But the unique boutique condos or the low-rise condos that only have, 6 to 7 units per floor, if they go on the market, they're still flying off the shelves right away, as long as it's priced properly. And that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of sellers have a hard time. You're seeing it too. They see their neighbor that has the same unit, but they've upgraded theirs and they're going to sell for less. It's a hard pill to swallow. But people are moving back to the city, like you said. We're going to see a lot of people doing that now with their new jobs being upgraded, promoted, whatever. And the good condos are selling fast. It's the ones that are a dime a dozen that are maybe overpriced or not priced properly, not staged, tenanted. They're the ones that are sitting for a little bit and having a hard time selling. But
And so we're sort of seeing two markets here, and we have the little market when we have the big market. The little market being the trendsetter, where people are listing prices at a more realistic price and putting it ahead of the falling prices and just catching it. And then we have the big market that waits for this market to adjust and then keeps chasing it down all the way down. Is it sort of the same thing going on there?
Same kind of thing, yeah. Like I guess honestly, the biggest thing is if it's priced properly, especially with the condos, you're gonna get the traction. I still think the really cheap ones, because again, people need like that's the thing at the end of the day. Recession, no recession, interest rate hike, no interest rate hike. People need places to live, and people want to own property. It's just it is not like we can control that. It's just a fact.
Yeah,
and they have to buy property. So like the low priced 1-bedrooms, as long as they're priced properly, people still want to enter the market. And I think right now we've had this doomsday news article stuff and the interest rising rates. Don't get me wrong, I don't know what's happening next. No one does. But at the end of the day, people need places to live. The low price condos are still selling for a good price. And I think people are coming to terms that this is just the reality of the new cost of borrowing. It's going to be like this for a little bit. And I think especially first-time home buyers, if you look in the news, I did a TikTok yesterday, the news, especially here in Toronto, and they control a lot of this stuff, right? So once they put out 1 or 2 positive news articles, which they have been, first-time buyers see this and they say, okay, because this is where first-time home buyers rely on BlogTO. They rely on 20-year-olds from TikTok. And if they post 1 positive news article, they have confidence again. And then they're like, you know what? Okay, prices are down. Interest rates are what they are now. It's going to be like this for a little bit. So maybe now's the time, right?
Yeah. Either way, we need a roof over our head. So we got to go get this house.
Rentals down here, it's criminal. Like I feel so bad for anyone looking for rentals down here. It's every single, a 1-bedroom condo is $2,500 in the downtown core.
Wow. 1 bedroom.
Plus 1 bedroom on average.
So same here. We're 1 bedroom basement apartment, and I have my own rental properties, so it's about $1,800.
That's for a basement. It's tough, and like a lot of these people that come down to Toronto, they're making, let's say, $60,000-$70,000 a year, and they're their new position. They're just in finance. They're 23 years old, and they want to have a nice place. They want to show off to their friends a little bit. It's going to cost $20,000. That's almost their whole check. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. And at the end of the day, if you like, that's how I get a lot of my clients. Most of my clients are past rental clients or friends, their friends. And because some of these kids are making $100,000 a year, they can pre-qualify for a $550,000 mortgage. So it's like, do you want to pay $3,000, $3,200 a month for a place that's yours? Or do you want to pay $2,600, $2,700 a month for someone else?
Yeah. And that's happening a lot more too now. And just taking it back to the news stuff we were talking about, the same stuff that they were saying before about maybe, I don't know, 8 months ago, they were saying that, oh man, these prices are going to go up another 20% by next year. Those same people are now saying, oh, these prices are coming down. So I don't think they really know what the hell they're talking about.
No, it's funny because I see and not to crap on any media outlet or whatever, but a lot of my friends will send me BlogTO or Narcity articles, and I'm like, the people writing these I don't know who they are. I'm assuming they're like 22-year-old kids that probably don't own property, aren't realtors, and they're just basing their stuff based on whatever they're seeing on random news articles elsewhere, right? And they're just coming to their own conclusion. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in, where social media is a lot of people's actual source of news, which is terrifying. And if they put out a couple positive ones here and there, first time it switches like this. You know how it is. Yeah, I get first-time buyers who I'm waiting. This is crazy. It's going to be a recession, and then 2 weeks later, hey, I saw this article today that prices are stabilizing, and I'm like, where'd you get? I've been telling you this.
I work in this, and you don't take my word.
So yeah, but they got more followers than you, so it's real.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. More trustworthy, I guess. So are you seeing the reverse at all, where I'm just going to fire these questions at you. I hope that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Are you seeing any of the reverse, where people are selling over there and coming more towards smaller towns? And I remember seeing those articles a lot more before, and I remember running into these situations a lot more where people had already sold there, and their agent was like, hey, I don't know this area. I'm just going to send it over to somebody else, and they would send them over to us, and they'd be buying They would go from downtown Toronto to a place that's even like backwoods for us, which I won't name a place, but it's much further north than here.
Right.
And then we get some acreage and start a little farm.
Yeah. I can't speak for everybody, just from what I'm seeing myself. I'm 33. I've lived along King Street West now for almost 11 years. I'm not sure if you're familiar with King West, but it's chaos. And what's happened in the last little bit, I think, with the pandemic, like I live across from a bar called Ruby Soho. My favorite. I hope they're listening. They're not, but it's okay. But I'm not joking when I say this. It's busy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. every single day. And the people that live down here, it used to be like not a bougie neighborhood, but it used to be like a cool neighborhood, King Street West. It was calm. There was a lot of like young professionals, some new families. But the pandemic turned it into like this party central. And I think the people that lived here, yeah, we like to go out and enjoy what we have in our neighborhood. But now, like I live at King in Portland, which is like the epicenter of disaster. Like it's crazy. If I walk my dog at 11 o'clock on a Friday at night, I'm just going for a walk. There's tons of people that just like hang out on the streets now. And that never used to happen. So with that being said, a lot of people that are my age, they're 33 and up to 40, they've had their fun down here. And I think Toronto turns you into like a monster where you don't like people because you see too many. And they're like, get me to like, I don't want to see anybody ever again.
Yeah,
you know?
I've seen those people.
For that. I got tons of clients that are like, you know what, I'm done with Toronto. I've been here long enough. I've experienced it. I'm work from home. I have a wife. I want a kid. Why am I living amongst this chaos? I can't. Why not? Why would I not move to a peaceful area? I can still work, right?
Yeah. And once they move here, we almost have to rehabilitate them. Be like, hey, it's okay. These are people. You say hi to them. You know, it's your neighbor. They don't want anything from you. They're not gonna flash you. You know.
Oh, that's great. I love that. It's funny because like the building that I'm in now is a little more friendly. It's a boutique building, but my last building that I was in like last year, I bought 2 during the pandemic. My neighbors, I'd go. I'm from a small town. My parents are farmers, so I say hi to everybody still to this day. But my neighbor before, I'd be like, "Hey, how's it going? Good morning," and they're like, "Oh, whoa, like what? Me? Yeah, what do you want?
What do you want from me?
Just saying hi.
I don't have any money. I don't want any trouble."
Just handing me like a Tim Hortons bagel, like get out of here. Yeah,
awesome. So I think we're gonna still see that a lot more, and just by going back to the sensationalizing all the news and all that stuff, and saying that these prices are going to go down again. I personally predict that we're going to be by next year in sort of a deflation where they're going to have to decrease those rates again. And then that's going to tie right in with all the people that are coming in and immigrating to this country because we have a pretty awesome country.
Yeah.
And they're not going to come in with no money. That's
what people don't understand. Sorry to cut you off.
No worries.
People are, we're going to have a bunch of immigrants, blah, blah, blah. The new immigrants, they're not coming here with no money.
They're not poor.
No.
They wouldn't let anybody in that doesn't have any money.
They need to have a lot of money. Like I actually help a lot of the people that if they're new to Canada and they want rentals. India, Brazil, Mexico, those are the biggest ones for me. Not much in Asia, but like those ones, Brazil, Mexico, and India. These people are like, I'll pay a year up front. I'm like, that's $47,000. They're like, okay.
No problem.
Okay. They're all working like great jobs. So yeah. So they're not
pay you or live on the street.
Like that's what people don't understand is that these people coming, they do have money and they do have great careers. They're very educated. They're, and they're coming here to start a family and start a new life here. So like you said, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So I just personally predict that we're going to be in the same situation as we were last year, where we're going to be bidding again, and there's going to be people that are going to say, oh man, I should have bought when the prices were, lower. And in turn, we're going to see a lot of folks kind of transition from Toronto, either it's a life change or they want to cash out and come and have a backyard, and sort of live the quiet life, quote unquote,
I get it.
with their kids.
I agree. Honestly, I agree 100% with you on that. I think there's also one thing that I don't know how soon it's going to happen. No one does. I'm not sure if there's going to be are we pausing interest rate hikes now for a bit? I've heard yes. I've heard no. I talked to I think you spoke with him yesterday, Zach. He was saying that, if there are interest rate hikes in the next little bit, they're going to be like extremely minor compared to what's already been happening. So it might only affect your mortgage, 40, $50, whatever. And I really think it's all driven by the media too. And like the media almost and they're putting out more positive articles, which we didn't see for a long time.
Yeah, I think even they were surprised that there was a hike. Like, yeah, we said there wasn't going to be. So why did you put one? Why did you hike it?
I know it's hard to stay on top of it right now. It seems like the Bank of Canada kind of runs their own program, so that is what it is.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's my sort of outlook. So you would say same sort of outlook for next year, maybe.
I agree. I really do honestly agree with that. I've been saying that for a little bit. If you look at the trends, like if you look at one of the most important charts I analyze every day is the sales volume trends. And if you look at sales volume for 7 years in a row, it's almost the exact same trend. We went through people forget that we just went through a pandemic where people didn't go outside. People didn't leave their homes and we still had the same patterns. So it's like, we're going through interest rates rising, whatever. But these are trends that we've been following for the last 6-7 years. And it's like, why wouldn't it be the same as the last 6 years? I don't know why.
Exactly. Awesome. So we're halfway through. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit, if that's okay. We'll get off that topic. We're on a different one real quick. I want to help some of our fellow realtors. And, there's been a sort of a phenomenon during the pandemic and the beginning where a lot of people said, okay, well, I'm doing this job. Realtors are making money. I'm going to get into the realtor job instead because it looks real easy on Instagram. So I'm going to do that instead. If this guy can do it, I can do it too. Right.
Of course.
So, and a lot of them got into this business and, with good faith, and they did their work, but they're sort of used to that, put up a sign, sold in a few days, and they're not used to like the grind. And this happened more so in your neck of the woods than our area because, there's just a lot more young professionals that are like, I'm just going to change my job. Have you noticed that a lot or no?
Yeah, my team is made up of, I have 5 and 3 of them are those. But I can say for my team specifically, they're amazing and they do hustle. But I think that's the hardest thing is that, and I teach them this, because for me to get to where I was, I work like a crazy. It's not easy. This industry will eat you alive if you think it's going to be easy. You're going to be out in a year, especially right now, because we just had it pretty easy for a little bit. And it's going back to where you got to work to get your next lead. No one's calling you anymore, That's right. And I think that's the hardest thing for these new realtors is understanding that, you get into real estate to set your own schedule. But for my first 2 years, and I'm not saying everyone has to do this because maybe it isn't the way to do it. I don't know. I didn't have a life for 2 years. Like my friends would text me and be like, so we just delete your number or what? Like I actually.
Exactly.
And I just did what I did because I wanted to excel my career. I wanted to learn as much as I could and work as hard as I could to put in the time and understand the industry. And I think the best advice any new realtor I can give is just join a team or have a mentor at least, because you don't want to develop bad habits. You want to understand the market, and you do it too. And Toronto, there's a lot of realtors that aren't the best. I mean, that's in every industry. It's in every job in the world. But I have conversations with realtors all the time where I'm like, I can't believe I'm having this conversation.
Exactly. And it happens mostly when you're sitting and they have an offer in front of you and they're saying like, here's my offer, and you're like, how did you get out of school? How did they pass you with this?
Yeah, I've had people send me offers that they're not like the parking spot's not included. And I have to send them back and be like, I could have just ripped you off like 80-90K and I'm not going to do that, but can you read this over first, please? And they're like, oh, can you just do it? It's like, no, I can't.
And then if they screwed that up, then do they actually vet their client? Did their client actually have money? Exactly. And are they just coming over here with monopoly money and really good thoughts?
That's true. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think my biggest advice for any new realtor, especially in this market, is like you're not I remember that actually I think my broker record told me this. It was like the old saying was like always be closing, right? Sell, sell, sell. But I feel like it's the opposite, especially in Canada. People don't want to be sold anything.
No.
They just want to be right. Like they don't want to be sold. The second you come off as like salesy, they're like, nah, I'm good. So for me, like I send out educational videos to all my clients, like almost at least 3 times a week. If they don't want it, they don't want it. But I'm not saying like, hey, you need to buy right now. Trust me, you're going to be screwed if you don't buy. I'm like, hey, look this is what's happening. These are the facts. make your decision based on that. But you need to be an educator in this market. You're not a salesperson anymore. You need to be an educator and separate yourself from everybody else. If you can bring value to people, that's like game changer.
Yeah, exactly. And I go back to my days of, I used to work at this place, and a lot of people might not remember this place, but it used to be called Future Shop. And it was a pretty
One of your
cool
friends
spot.
reached out to me and said that, actually. I forgot who it was.
I worked there for like 12 years, and man, I do pretty well at Future Shop. From the people that remember me from Future Shop, shout out to my Future Shop crew. It used to be that they would come to me and ask me, how do you do it? And it was always the same. I don't try to sell anybody anything. I'm just bluntly honest with them, and here's what it is. And that's sort of what I brought with me. And that attitude of, if I'm not succeeding at this, I'm not doing something right.
Sure.
That's sort of what's put me through. And to go back to what you were saying about hustling for the first couple of years, I was door knocking on Christmas Eve. I was door knocking on New Year's Eve, and I was in the snow. I didn't care when it was. The more difficult it was, the better it was.
Me too.
And I would know everybody's name in my neighborhood.
Yep.
And I'd be able to have a conversation with them, and I'd just talk about non-business things.
Yep.
Wouldn't be like, oh, I need you to sell your house right now, because if you don't, you're stupid.
That's the thing. I tell my team members that all the time. Like the thing is, you need to be an expert at follow-up as well, right? Like in Toronto, it's a bit different. Like, and the way that I built my business was strictly leases, because I came here not really knowing anybody, and I was like, okay, how do I meet people other than going to the bars and restaurants? Because that's not always the best way to meet people. It's a good way to network and get your name out there, but not the best at 3 a.m. I don't want to pay for advertising, and I didn't have any money for that. So I did rentals, which were free. I met a bunch of people, but in order to convert them later on down the road to buyers, I had to be an expert at my follow-up. And again, by just following up, and I tell my team this all the time, because I think a lot of new realtors, when they're making cold calls or whatever, you don't have to have, like, you're checking in with people. It doesn't have to be a ground shattering conversation. You're not going to call them and be like, have some big news to tell them every time. Sometimes you can just call them and say, hey, a new restaurant opened down the street from you. I know you're living over here. This is really new restaurant. It's amazing. I know the owners. If you ever want reservations, let me know. Or anything like that. I do that all the time. Anytime a new restaurant opens, it's great.
We do all sorts of community stuff. So, if you're working on a budget, it doesn't cost a whole lot to get into your local business development and just say, hey, here's what I'm doing, and they'll get you involved. What I used to do is I used to get a Santa Claus, and I used to get somebody to take photos, and then I would go door knock and say, hey guys, I'm your local realtor, but I'm not selling you anything. Just come on out, bring your kids. If you want to take a picture with Santa, you can take a picture of Santa. Bring your dogs. We're gonna take some photos. Then they would come out have some hot chocolate. I go to Tim Hortons and say, "Hey, Timmy's, do you want to sponsor this?" Yep. They would do it. Of course. So you can do a lot of stuff on a budget. But
100%.
It's that I think a lot of the agents are just sort of into that mentality right now, and I hope this helps to kind of get them out of it, to just grab their book, sit down, and say, okay, what do I do now? I expect that their broker's going to bring them some clients and be like, here you go, sell them something. Whether they're on a team or anywhere else. I think that thought just needs to go away, where you need to 100%. Generate money by being a professional partner and being a local expert, and just putting yourself out there versus of like, just waiting as a salesperson for somebody to come into your store and buy something, Yeah.
And especially now as a realtor, that's not like, now people need the help more than ever, and they're not reaching out to 100%. Realtors being like, I need to buy.
Don't I know it? Yeah. And you got to educate yourself to have that confidence to go to your client and say, I'm the one that's going to represent you best, 100%. Not anybody else. Where I'm sitting in front of somebody else and we're negotiating a deal for over 3 days, it's tough, and you got to know what is what. And like you were saying before, join a team that has a mentor built in there, or a good team that's very cohesive, that will help each other, or get a mentor within your brokerage that will take you step by step, where you can call them, say 10 o'clock at night when you got a deal that's expiring, saying like, hey, they're coming at me with this thing, what do I do?
For sure. I think, like, I always tell my team too, like in the mornings, we're all busy, but no one's that busy. Every morning I take 15 minutes. I just read the news. Like I just type in Toronto real estate. I'll read like 2 or 3 news articles. It takes me 10 minutes, Maybe I missed something, or maybe that's just a conversation to be had during that day. Maybe you run into somebody in the elevator Like, oh, what's the market doing? And you say, oh shit, well, I just read that news article. Yeah, prices are up this percent, down this happened last week. And they're like, oh, this person knows their stuff, right? So
yeah, exactly. And most agents, when you ask them that question and they say, hey, how's the market? They'll be like, good or oh, terrible. Oh, that's the worst. Whereas like it's such an opportunity. And I don't know if it happens to you because you're, it's so busy in Toronto, where, I'll be walking through the grocery store and, without fail, I usually run into somebody that asks me, hey, Amir, or hey, I saw you on the bus. You're that guy. How's the market? And you know what? I'll usually put it back to them and be like, depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
Depends on what you're looking to do.
Right.
If you're looking to do this is what happens. If you're looking to do that, and we get into this whole conversation, and then they start opening up on like,
for sure.
Okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. My cousin's looking to sell his house, or he's looking to buy a house in my neighborhood.
Yep.
If I send you his information, can you give him a shout?
It's so true. Like same here downtown. Like I walk whenever I'm able to, I'll walk everywhere to get coffee. And the same thing as you. I'll run into somebody, ask me a question like that. So
yeah, it's like I think I read that in the Sirhan's book. He's like he's running into people at the gym and everywhere else he goes. He just tries to meet one person, but it just happens. And once you put yourself in that position, you have that confidence behind what you're saying because you've actually done your research and you're not talking out of your behind. Then you're in a good spot.
It's true. You're right.
Fantastic. So yeah, for all the realtors out there that have recently gone to this business, feel free to reach out to either one of us, whether it's through here or any other platform. We love to help, and we joke, 100%. But there's a sort of a camaraderie in this business. So as long as your motivation to get into this business, your why is a good why, and it's it being from wanting to help people and get them from point A to point B in a very smooth way, I think we would love to help you and get you in the advice that you need, or we can at least get you connected to somebody else that can.
For sure. Yeah, well, I always help people. Like I'm always looking to help people. Anyone message me on Instagram. Like I have a girl right now who just comes to the office once a week and she'll shadow me for a day. She doesn't work in my brokerage. She's not on my team. She just wants a little bit of help and guidance, and I don't mind. Exactly.
Like we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Come along and we'll help you out.
Yeah,
just I think this is more of like a public service than anything too, because if we can help somebody, bring over a better deal and help somebody else, I think it makes everybody's life a little bit easier.
Definitely.
Awesome, man. It was so nice chatting with you. And I just want to reintroduce you again is Dave Hutch. And he knows all about the condo market in Toronto and Toronto market in general. So if you have any questions about real estate in general with respect to Toronto, please reach out to Dave, and we are going to have his information down below as well. Right? We're going to have it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome, Dave. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope we get to chat again once there's more news. I'm sure we'll be chatting some more about your neck of the woods.
I'm always ready whenever you want. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.